what's up? How you doing? Andrew's the only one in the house. He's flying solo. You see, Andrew, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. If he's in here. I don't know. You never know. So we'll let a couple people hop in here. Everybody will kind of come in. So, for those of you on the replay squad, we're talking with Jeremy from JNN. Naomi might pop in, but we can't be sure. You know what's funny? Right now, Andrew, what's up? Just in case, how you doing? Um, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, and I'm on the left side. But
Yeah.
everybody else is looking on you, and you're on the left side. I never noticed that.
Huh.
Do you see that?
That's odd.
What side are you on your side?
On my side, I'm on the right side.
Yeah, this side too. But I'm looking on the thing on the other one, and it's flipping flop. What's up, Mexicali? What's up, D1? Just in case, my day one. How you doing? Channel members, how are you guys doing? So we're talking with Jeremy. Naomi might pop in. Jeremy from J&N Aquatics. Naomi might pop in. She might not. The baby comes first. We'll see what happens. But that's all right because Jeremy trips me out. Jeremy's one of the Jeremy. How long you been doing the live streaming so far on YouTube?
On YouTube,
Yeah, so far because you've been kind of hitting the live streaming pretty hot and heavy lately.
yeah, especially on TikTok. I've been hitting the live stream on TikTok every day. Uh, and then on YouTube, I do my unboxings when I get my fish orders and stuff.
I
But
looked on when we talked that one day. I looked on TikTok. That seemed very confusing.
it seemed really confusing.
It seemed very confusing when I looked on the live stream on TikTok. There was a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
How do
Yep.
you keep all that straight? It seemed
I
fast paced.
I don't know. Yeah, even Mexicali says I stay busy on TikTok. He comes in on my TikTok every now and then.
I don't. I thought it was kind of cool because like there's a lot going on. I just have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So
Do you
with TikTok,
find?
there's a
Go
lot
ahead.
of
Go ahead.
gifting. So there's a lot of gifting with TikTok. So people can send you gifts, and you get like a percentage off of it.
Mhm.
So they might spend like 99 coins on a gift, but I might see like $1.25 from it.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but
So does that carry over into your YouTube? Have you noticed like, hey, I remember you from TikTok, and I came over to your YouTube channel.
yeah, actually, some of my TikTok people come over on my YouTube, have followed me on YouTube as well. And here lately, I've been seeing a lot of YouTube coming over on my TikTok.
Well,
Like Mex-
I've noticed that YouTubers have normally go to IG and TikTok, and it's not as often that TikTokers go on YouTube.
right. Yeah, it usually so YouTube is more of the fish hobbyist. Not saying TikTok doesn't have a whole lot of fish hobbyists. TikTok's full of new hobbyists. Just people getting into the hobby, don't know a whole lot. They're searching for information, stuff like that.
On TikTok.
Um, on TikTok, yeah. Uh, there is a YouTube family, as we all know. We're all a YouTube family, but there is also a TikTok family as well.
Hear that?
Um, but and then here lately, what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to emerge the YouTube fish family and the TikTok family into one. Because I mean we all are sharing the same hobby. I mean we all love the hobby. You know,
So
and
you're saying that there's a lot of newbies on TikTok more so
yep,
than YouTube? Why do you
yep,
think that is? Younger people,
a lot of younger people. It-
and they go to
exactly.
TikTok for information?
Hmm. Yep.
That's
And
funny for me.
it's terrible because you know you get all these younger people that's now getting into the hobby and they're going through TikTok trying to find information, but they're getting information from other new hobbyists who are just now learning. You know, so there's a lot of bad information going around, um,
Really?
and that's why I picked up on TikTok and. I'm trying to minimize all that bad information that's being spread around. Um, and it so far it's been good. Like within, I've been doing TikTok for a month now, and my TikTok I have over 1,600 followers in a month. Um,
I'm I'm very interested in the fact that you have newbies looking for information on TikTok because my channel is all about helping newbies out with, not burning up all their money, you know what I mean?
yep,
So, I mean, after this, I mean, we got each other's numbers. I kind of want you to walk me through that whole thing and show me the ropes. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
I honestly, I would. It's hard to find people who don't know anything about. So, like for instance, YouTube, right? Most of the people who come across my channel, most of the people who come across my channel are already experienced hobbyists. I
Hmm.
do come across the occasional newcomer looking for information. Um, and when I do, I know that and they kind of stick with me. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of people that come across my information, my channel, they have somewhat of an idea. You know
Bad,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Mhm. Yep.
Um, I do notice though when they don't. But the fact that you found a whole bunch of people who are kind of clueless, that interests me.
Yeah, it's and I'll even talk about YouTube channels. So, you know, people come in my channel and they'll ask me all kinds of questions about the hobby, and I'll answer it to my knowledge, you know, from my personal experience and what I know. But and then I always refer them. I'll be like, go to YouTube. There is a whole new fish community on YouTube. You know, go check out Mexicali. Go check out um, Branton Lightcap. Go check
Don't
out
don't
Jeff
send them don't
Allen.
send them to Mexicali though.
Don't tell them that's the Cali.
Uh, so, all right. So, do you see a future for experienced fish hobbyists, like in TikTok though?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you
'Cause-
get your experienced hobbyists to start like streaming on TikTok, um, then I mean, you can attack the younger generation a lot easier.
Are they open to it, or do you have, or are they willing? Like, are they interested, or are they just kind
Yeah.
of? Oh, okay.
They're interested. For example,
I thought.
there's a guy
What?
on TikTok. He goes by the name Snorlax, right? He is completely new to the hobby. And he set up a 10-gallon tank and he's got mystery snails, he's got platies, he's got plants and all that. And he was under the impression that his plants were thriving. You know, his plants looked amazing and all this. But when I found him, I kind of gave him some suggestions how to about his plants, and I all I saw was decaying like hornwort. His hornwort in his tank was decaying and wasn't getting enough nutrients. But in his eyes, he thought it was thriving. So I kind of educate him on how to fertilize, how he needs to be fertilizing every week. His rooted plants, how he needs to put root tabs, you know, at least once a month. Um, and his parameters, his mystery snail he named Bertha laid eggs, and he didn't know what to do with the eggs. So he came to me and asked me, you know, what to do. and his tank was an open tank. There was no lid, right? So that condensation,
It's
there's
just
no
leave.
condensation there
Yeah,
for the eggs to stay moist.
they were
So I
drying
get
up.
it's drying up. So I gave him a tip. I told him, I was like, hey, take your credit card, scoop up of those eggs, put it in a damp paper towel, stick it in a container, and stick it under a light, and it'll keep the moisture inside that container. He's doing that. Um, and he's passing that information. All the information I've given him in the past month, he's actually passing it to other new hobbyists that comes and ask him for questions.
Mexicali, can you put his TikTok information up there, please? When do you go live on TikTok?
Usually I'm on TikTok every day. Sometimes I'm on it all day from like 10:30 a.m. till uh 6 p.m. when I close the shop.
God dang! So you
Yeah,
just streamed the entire day?
pretty much. Yep. Um, and then there's some days I'll kind of split it up. I'll go live for an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll cut it off. And then a few hours later, I might do a second live stream, and then I'll do that for a couple hours, and then I'll cut it off. And then at 5 o'clock, I'll do a 1 hour live stream where we'll sit down and we actually do a quiz. So I ask a bunch of questions about the hobby and get my followers to kind of participate and answer the questions and stuff like that. So,
Oh, that sounds very interesting. That sounds
yeah.
very. So, do you see a big difference between your the people in TikTok versus the people in YouTube versus the people in real life? Because I
Um,
found a difference. I found a big difference between people in real life and the people on YouTube. Like a huge difference.
yeah. People in real life, I get a couple of people who know a lot about the hobby. And it reminds me of the people on YouTube. Like they've been in
Mhm.
it their whole life, has tons of knowledge in their head. But the majority of the people that come in the store are like new beginners. You know, they
Yeah,
they don't know much about that. They might know like the basics, but
yeah.
they don't know like the water chemistries, or they don't know about the nitrogen cycle. They don't
Mhm.
know stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. A lot of people on YouTube seem to be a little bit more advanced than people
Hmm.
in real life.
Yep.
People in real life, I feel like it's a lot harder. You know, you gotta take more time. Whereas people on YouTube, I feel like they already know a lot more than
Right.
they've taken the time to actually look you up. You know,
Hmm. Yep.
so and YouTube and do you think people on TikTok is equivalent to people in real life?
Yes, I would say so. People on TikTok that I came across remind me a lot of about my customers. And
Mm.
I get people all across the world. I mean, I get people from Australia, UK, all over the US. I mean, they're all over the world,
What's up, Aqua Balls? So let's change gears for a minute because Aqua Balls has just popped up, and I kind of wanna being that we have a store owner in the chat, and we got Aqua Balls, and it's 2025 in a very strange time in our country. Uh, Aqua Balls breeds a lot at
Hmm.
home. You got a lot of people thinking about breeding fish for profit. You got a lot of LFSs trying to find ways to bring in fish for cheaper. You know what I mean? So we have discussions all the time about what's the best fish to breed and da 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 da. Breeding for profit. I kind of got my opinion on it from being in the industry and seeing what kind of goes on. But I always tell people like, yo, go ask your LFS, like what do you want them to breed? Because they might they so people have like I feel like people have this grandiose idea of what they should. I'm gonna breed Tanganyikas because nobody's doing Tanganyikas. There's a reason, bro.
There's a
There's a
reason
reason
for
why
that.
nobody's doing Tanganyikas. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if I am coming in off the street, and that's another thing people have is trying to like, how do I get my foot in the door to an LFS? Some people watch Corey. I have my own ways of getting my foot in the door. Some people some people have their own ways, there are other ways that I kind of don't agree on. Like, what would you expect somebody who's trying to approach you, um, business wise, to have a business relationship with you as a home breeder? What would you want from them? Like, in all honesty, and what are the mistakes they make? Put it that way. What are the biggest mistakes people make when they come to you trying to sell you their fish because they're gonna be the next deemed master breeder?
Um. So, oh man, I don't know how to answer that. So they breed. My local breeders here will breed stuff that doesn't sell, and so they expect, and that's all they know how to breed. And
Yeah.
so try to bring me stuff or talk to me about bringing stuff, almost like cichlids. So in my area, cichlids is not big at all.
Mhm. Like
So
Africans or Central South, what?
African, African
Mhm.
cichlids. Um, and I did have a local breeder. That's all he bred was African cichlids, right? And I tried him out and brought his cichlids in the store one time, and I sat on his cichlids for months. Did not sell a single cichlid. Now they were beautiful cichlids, beautiful
Yeah.
OB peacocks, all kinds of stuff. Um, but no one bought it. And I actually lost that relationship with him because, he kept wanting to supply my store with cichlids and cichlids, but it was just taking me forever to sell them, you know? Um, but a lot of people, I do have another breeder. He breeds a bunch of like apistos, like trifasciatus, quad reds. Um, he's breeding. He was breeding a bunch of angels and stuff, and it's just that stuff that really don't sell in my area.
Mhm.
So when I get someone to actually come in and ask me what can they breed that sells, then I'll
Yeah.
tell them. I was like, in this area, it's nanofish. Everyone wants nanofish. Everyone wants shrimp. Everyone wants neon tetras, chili rasboras, CPDs. Stuff like that.
See,
And
I had a live stream, and you just mentioned something that I was telling people. None of those fish you just mentioned was guppies. None of them were live bearers.
no,
And I have this theory, right? Uh, Corridor is the best fish to breed, and so I feel like everybody and their uncle is gonna try and breed live bearers,
hmm,
and just they got a 10-gallon tank. They're gonna throw a whole bunch of butt guppies, and you're
yep,
gonna have everybody bringing. So I was like, listen, as experienced fish breeders, do not try to compete with Joe Blow down the street who just has a couple of 10 gallons and they're just breeding out mutt guppies left and right because you're just fighting the. So if you're an experienced fish keeper, try and do them fish that is a little bit harder. You know what I mean? A little bit harder, like Jeff Kane, for instance. Jeff, I can't breed. I cannot breed those fish that are egg scatters. I don't have the patience. My hand. I'm not doing that stuff. I'm not digging eggs out of no mop. So, and most people don't want to. So I would expect like Corys and stuff like that. That's what they should be breeding.
Yeah.
You know.
And I have a couple of breeders that will breed guppies, but they think, like you said, they want to breed mutt guppies. And mutt guppies don't really sell that often, like, because you don't know the lineage of them, you don't know, their health, their immune system's way down because they've been well overbred.
Yeah.
So I try to give advice that if you're going to breed guppies, pick a certain guppy, like a pure line, like a blue Moscow, and breed a
Yeah.
bunch of blue Moscows, or right now I got a bunch of koi snakeskin metal guppies that I got from
Yeah.
Brant.
Yeah.
And I'm breeding
Don't
those.
don't get anything from Brenton.
No,
Brenton's dirt. He's a dirty, dirty individual. Do you know he watches my live streams while he's on the crapper at work?
does he?
Yes, he's a sicko.
That's not nice of him.
I don't. That's why you ain't no telling what he's doing to those guppies, man.
Mm-mm.
So, like for instance, Mexicali, he he in his area because he'll breed. He doesn't have any LFS. He's in a LFS desert. Um, and that's because he lives in places that are far apart. You know, I wouldn't open up an LFS where he lives at either, just because it's just everything's too spread out. Um, but where he lives, people don't want high end fish; they want mutt guppies.
Hmm.
So it's different for where everybody lives at. But
Right.
I always tell people you need to ask. Like when I was in New Jersey, African cichlids are a big deal.
Right.
So it just depends on where you live at. But I wouldn't try and fight the average Joe by doing convicts or freaking, those things that the newbie is gonna definitely be, jumping on. You know,
Hmm.
Angel is kind of a pain in the butt to breed, so they're always a safe bet. I never met any. The thing is with angels, people want to breed like, oh, I'm gonna breed these, super red devil angels, and I'm gonna take them to the LFS, and I'm gonna get, $15 a piece for them.
Yeah. No.
No, you're not,
No, you're
buddy.
not.
Why would the LFS pay you $15 a piece from when they could go to the wholesaler and get it for cheaper?
Yep.
So talk about paying the money payout, because a lot of people get that messed up. They
Hmm.
don't understand. They don't understand that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. It's
how do you talk to people about, bro? Like I know people. I know I sell this fish for $20. I'm not gonna pay you $18 for a fish that I'm gonna sell for 20. But how do you
hmm
explain that to people?
I just I so the way I normally put it is, so for example, if someone had a bunch of sunburst platies, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're looking for they're coming in the store and saying, "Oh, I want to buy those, or I want to sell these at, you know, $4 a pop." You know, and so I will uh politely, say I cannot get $4 a pop, because when I go through a wholesaler, I can get them at 50 cents, 75 cents,
Yeah.
Um, and so, and I got to make money too. So I kind of explain that, because I still got to feed them. I got to pay for the electric, the water, stuff like that. And if I take 50, 50-cent platy and I sell it in the store for $4 or $5, I can't take his platy that I bought for $5 and sell it for 15. I can't
Mm,
do that. No one's
yeah.
going to buy a platy for 15. And so
15
a
bucks.
lot of
Yeah.
times they kind of understand that. So,
Some people, they think they're like, this fish is worth this much. To you, to these people, not to me, buddy. You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
Yep.
when I worked at LFSs, it, it, so I'm I've noticed that there's two different types of LFS owners. There's some LFS owners that are extremely uh what's the word I'm looking for? Hobbyists. They're extreme hobbyists that own a pet store. And then
Mhm.
there's other pet store like all right, so like Naomi, for instance. Naomi was really, really easy to talk to
Mhm.
because I could talk to her about numbers,
Right. She's very
business
smart.
wise.
Yep.
So it was really easy to be like, like, all right, well, this is the cost of shipping and da 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 da, and this is loss and da 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 da, and it was like cold hard facts. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Those are the people that are easiest for me to talk to. So that's how I talk to people because I expect a store owner to kind of be like that. Um, I've noticed that some store owners that are really emotional about the fish kind of don't do well. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They're a little too emotional. But when I was doing when I was working at LFS, that's kind of how I went about it with the customer. I'm like, look, man, like I'm not gonna make no money. I can't pay no bills if I'm paying this much for that. This is how much I can get it for. Now, I'll tell you this. I used to be like, I'll tell you this. I have to pay for shipping. I have losses. I have money that that I have to take into consideration. If you have a good product and I could save money by getting your product, but I don't know you. So you're gonna have to in good faith show me something. We'll start out low. And if something happens, then I'll give you, market value. I'll give you what I'll be paying them. But I
Mhm.
can't do it, you're under the table, bro. I'm not supposed to be doing this. So
Mhm.
why take that risk for nothing? So I was kind of cold with them, but I don't have time to because that whole back and forth thing I'm not good at. I get real short. Come on, come on, come on, come on, bro. What I tell you, I told you no. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I'm kind of short, so I don't
Mhm.
know. You seem like a nice guy. I think you'd be nicer at it than I am. I don't know.
I think I'm
I'm,
too of a nice guy
you,
sometimes.
well, what if somebody calls you up with a stupid question? I'm short. You seem like somebody who would stay on the phone with people who ask stupid questions.
Um, y- I try. I'm a very, I guess, very I could become a people person. So but inside my head, I'm like, all right, you're already getting on my nerves. Let me get off this phone, but I'll carry on the conversation if I have
So
to.
what would it take for you to get upset at somebody on the phone?
Oh, that would get me upset. So let me tell you a story, Aqua Funk. You want me to tell you? So
Yeah, yeah. What
I
would it
get a
what
pho-
would it take for you to get upset?
so I get a phone call the other day, okay, guys, and here I am doing a bunch of water changes. I'm a busy guy, right? So I get a phone call,
Uh
and this individual calls me, and he's asking about Oscars,
huh.
right? So, and I told him, I was like, no, I don't have any Oscars. Well, you know, I think I said like I can order some Oscars, but he needed Oscars to put in with his Japanese fighting fish like that day.
Well, that don't
And
sound right.
I know that don't sound right, right?
He don't know what the hell he's
And
talking about.
like I just like in my head, I was like, this guy is an idiot. Like, but I didn't say that out loud. I didn't say it out loud.
I would
But
have said it. I would have told him you're an idiot.
and I told him I was like, you can't put an Oscar with a beta fish. And he sat there and argued with me and saying that his Japanese fighting fish knows kung fu. And my blood pressure is already through the roof. Be like, all right, this guy is literally wasting my time. I'm trying to get stuff done here at the shop, and he's asking me about putting an Oscar with a friggin' beta, you
Well,
know,
I mean, it makes some sense now that you think about it.
if he knows kung fu.
It is a Siamese fighting fish. So
Yeah, I
it,
understand.
I mean, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. So
The dog. I got
you
you.
know,
I mean, it makes sense.
I,
But
I, I
so I asked once he said his Siamese algae or Siamese fighting fish knew kung fu, then it dawned on me like my blood pressure came down. It's all right. This is a prank call. I was like, who is this?
prank
And
call.
yeah, it was a prank call.
You're a busy man. That's just rude.
I know, right? That's why
Craig, what
I
do
was
you say
already
my name,
irritated.
Craig?
And Funk, Craig says it's Funk. Yep. We know it was Funk. Funk calls me trying to get an Oscar for his Siamese fighting fish. Yep.
Oh man, so I have the best time calling this guy. I called him one time on his live stream while he was live. What did I call? What was that other one I called you about? It was about pea puffers.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then people started talking dirty to you on your live stream.
Someone talking dirty to me on my live stream.
It started getting very, very raunchy on
Was
that
it?
live stream. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember it started getting really, really raunchy. Running a retail store takes experience and the ability to read the customer
Let's see.
between politeness. I I I'm very yeah, I guess so. I guess do you ever get do you tell customers no? Have you ever refused a customer?
No,
Really?
I have not.
How do you, have you ever wanted
So,
to? How do you
have I
how do you
wanted
do it?
to? Yes. Yes, I have wanted to. So I get a lot of people come in and they complain about PetSmart refusing to sell them fish because their tank ain't big enough and all this other stuff. And so they'll come to me and they'll tell me what kind of fish they want and how big their tank is. Now, I can't tell my customers what they can and cannot do. It is their fish tank. It is their hobbies, their learning experience. Now, I can suggest, and
Mhm.
I'll tell them, right? I'll tell them, I was like, I'll tell them, I said, I cannot tell you, you can't do this or you can do this, but I will suggest you to get a bigger tank for a goldfish. Someone one
Yeah.
put a big goldfish in a 5 gallon tank, right? I'm not
Uh,
going to tell them no, but I'm going to give them the information, be like, all right, your goldfish is going to get big. So you're going to have to upgrade your tank, you know. But I'm not going to refuse not selling them that goldfish and
yeah.
putting it in a 5 gallon tank.
Yeah. I've noticed I personally have noticed that I don't like telling people no either. I like telling them, listen, um, this is what you have to look forward to with this fish. This is what you can expect in the future with this fish. Uh, hey, Brandon, you better not be on the pooper. You better not be poop chatting right now, you dirty bastard. Sicko. I don't even know what he was doing in that toilet. I'm afraid to know what he was doing in that toilet watching me.
I'd be afraid.
Yeah, you better wash your phone. But I so yeah, I like telling. I've noticed that if you tell people the right information to where they're successful, like if somebody got a 5 gallon tank, a 10 gallon tank, and they're frustrated with their 10 gallon tank. They keep putting fish in it. It keeps dying. They try different fish. That if you give them the right information to where they're not wasting their money, they know about the nitrogen cycle. They know about beneficial bacteria. They know about water changes. They know about overfeeding. And they feel like, okay, I got a grasp on this. I got a handle on what's going on. I feel confident to spend more money and get a bigger tank to do the right thing for my fish.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's the way to go instead of saying you're a piece of crap and you're a terrible fish keeper and you should get punched in the face. They'll just go somewhere else and not tell the. They'll just remember. Okay, don't say this, this, and this.
Don't
I'm
say
still going to
this.
do it anyway.
Yep.
You know, I've
Exactly.
noticed that they've came to me and they've had that situation in other places, and I could tell they was holding back because they mentioned this in other places. They got chastised, so they're afraid to tell me. And I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna crap on you.
Hmm.
But moving forward, let's talk. Let me tell you what how you could avoid these problems. You do what you need to do, but I'm gonna be here if you need me. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people have their I call them fish snobs.
Hmm.
A lot of LFSs are terrible about that.
Hmm.
Mom and pops are very bad about that. They're very, very bad about that. And a lot of it's because mom and pops usually have people more knowledgeable. So they're a little bit more emotionally invested, you know,
Hmm.
which is cool, but they gotta ease up with the judgmental crap. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep.
I did curse out a guy over the phone at Petco though, recently.
What happened?
He was a fish snob and he he I don't know what he thought, but I asked for stuff over the phone if he had a particular product, and the way he was talking to me, not knowing you don't know who I am, bro. You don't know how much I know, how much I don't know. So don't automatically assume I'm an idiot because you
Hmm.
might hear a little bit of ghetto in my freaking voice. You know what I mean? You might hear some New York in my voice. You might hear some of that. So you automatically assume that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So he started talking down to me, and now I had to cuss him out over the phone.
Good.
You know, well, I have 15 years of experience. All right, I got 25. Shut up. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
anyway, so Brenton, what's up? Benji, how you doing? To everybody who just came in the chat, I'm talking to Jeremy from J&N Aquatics. He is a store owner from where the hell are you from? I forget. I know it's from a country place.
Paducah, Kentucky.
Paducah, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Nestled right in the midst of a monkey spunk. What's the other place called? You have some cool places you live by.
Possum trot.
Possum trot. It sounds like something someone gets from eating bad Chinese food. And
Monkey's
what else?
eyebrow. Monkey's
Who?
eyebrow.
Monkey's eyebrow. These are real places, people. And there was another place. There was a third
Mm.
one. It was Possum
Bandana.
Trot. It wasn't bad that. I would remember that.
What's the
There was a
bandana?
third one. It was on your shirt. You was wearing a shirt. No, that was Possum Trot.
That was possum trot.
It was
You got
Possum Trot, Monkey's
Paducah.
eyebrow, Paducah. There was a third one that you said you lived by that was funny as hell.
There's Calvert, Benton, Reedland, Draftonville.
It might have been Paducah, Maduka,
uh,
Paducah or Baduka, Maduka,
Paducah.
Paducah. So it might have been
Paducah.
Paducah. So yeah, this is. I want to go visit Paducah just to go and then get like people to sign it, a shirt.
Hmm.
Say I was at Possum Trot on this day and had a beer and I want to have a PBR too.
Mm.
Because that just seems like a drink that I would drink in Possum Trot. I had a PBR in Possum Trot, and I had Natty Light in Paducah, and I had a Budweiser in
Monkey's eyebrow.
Monkey's Eyebrow. I don't know why. I feel like I should be drinking those. A Milwaukee Beast or something. I don't know.
That's it.
What's that say? I said locating feces. I don't know what the hell Craig is talking about.
I don't
Craig, you
know.
stole my mug, man. Mighty was about to win a mug and Craig stole it.
Craig is another one that comes in my TikTok lives as well.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna check them out. I went when you mentioned it. I was like, let me check out TikTok. I have a TikTok account, but I never did anything to it
Mm.
with it because YouTube just is YouTube for me is a big time suck. You know, you would love to prank Funk. You can't prank me. I'm unprankable. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you call me and you automatically say something off the cuff, I'm just gonna talk crap to you. I do it to like scam callers. I automatically get in there, but prank call Funk. I wish you would prank call me. I wish you would. So um I wanted to talk to you about another thing that came to my mind about fish stores, pet stores, LFS. Recently, Corey from Aquarium Co-op expanded his store
Right.
quite substantially, actually.
Hmm.
If you had I have a different approach when people talk because I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of stores do this where they either expand their store or they move into a bigger location, and almost all of them. And I'm not saying Corey's is gonna fail, but almost all of them fail.
Hmm.
From my personal experience, I haven't experienced every pet store, so I'm not saying that's for every LFS. I've always told myself if I opened up a LFS about your size, because I feel like your size LFS, my personal opinion, is the right size for a freshwater LFS only. Like one
Right.
particular, um, is the right size. And it becomes so successful that you need to think about expanding, that instead of building a bigger store or moving into a bigger store where you have to pay triple the amount of rent and bring
Hmm.
in all that and have, I would open up a second location instead of expanding the already winning recipe you have.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That
Hmm.
way, if something goes wrong, you still have a winning
That
recipe.
one. Yep.
So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Expand or second location?
Well, so it really depends. If you get a second location, you're going to have to hire employees. So you definitely going to have to hire employees. I guess it depends on the market itself, the
Hmm.
volume.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, if I was to open up a second store, let's say in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do good in Nashville. There's so many pet stores that's already dug their roots in the ground. They've got their clientele, all that
Mhm.
stuff. Um, so in that case, it would be better for me to expand and then open up a second one. Now, if I was to open up a bigger store in the same area that I'm in, my business is not going to get bigger. I'm going to have the same people coming into the store,
That's my point. That's my
but
point.
I'm going to have much more a higher rent. My
Mhm.
electric bill is going to be a lot higher. My water bill is going to be higher. Um, but I'm still getting the same amount of volume
Yeah.
into the store.
Yeah. You might get
So
a little bit more. You might get a little bit more because you're going to increase your stock. You're going to increase your dry goods. But is it really going to, add up
balance it
to all
out.
that extra? Yeah.
Right. So I would say opening a second location would probably be more beneficial,
Yeah.
but I would have to be careful where
Yeah.
I open up a second location at. And it's going to have to be somewhere where a town doesn't have to drive like an hour away, you know.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like, for example, I get people from Missouri. I get people from Tennessee. I get people from Indiana, Illinois. So if I was to open up a second business, I would probably open one up in Illinois
Exactly.
because Southern Illinois has no pet shops.
Yep.
They have to travel 2 to 3 hours east to go to Whitland
Yep.
Aquatics. You
Uh-huh.
know, they're in Indiana, or they have to drive an hour or so down to Paducah
Yeah.
to go to PetSmart, you know,
Yeah.
or they have to drive another hour or 2 hours west or southwest to go to Marion, you know, where Dee's Pets is and stuff like that. So I would kind of meet in the middle
Yeah.
somewhere and
Um,
get that geography.
that was always my. That was I've like I said, I've been in the fish pet store industry for going on 25 years in one form or another. You know, whether it be just as a hobbyist or working at a pet store, doing something, you know, on and off for 25 years. And I've seen pet stores do that same thing. They go, oh, this is great. We're doing great. We had a great year. We had a great 3 years. We're gonna expand and we're gonna move into a bigger place. And now the owner is like, you know, he's not the same guy. He's
Mhm.
stressed, he's
It's
upset, and then the store turns into like what it used to be, a small store where everybody's happy and everything's great. It turns into a
mhm,
bigger store and the shelves are not as full, and you know the fish aren't at the same quality. I would like, for instance, here in Florida, I live in North Florida, you know, North Lakeland. There's a South Lakeland, obviously, where people were coming up from South Lakeland to come to, you know, the aquarium place up here. What's up, Andy? How you doing, brother? But we have people driving an hour and a half to get here.
mhm.
So maybe, you know, if we would open up, you know, if I were to have a store here, I would probably open up another location that way. You know what I mean? Because they're coming, not as many. So if there's some people coming from over here, obviously there's a need over there. And it wouldn't interrupt what we got going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I've always, the only reason why I say that is because I mean, I watch Corey, and I wish him the best. I don't have any ill will to Corey. I mean, I know a lot of people like to crap on him. I mean, I'm not a Corey cheerleader or anything like that, but it's a rough time. And I know the store was in progress before all this happened, and like he's like, "Hey, we just expanded." I'm like, "Ooh," you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh man, talk about a bad timing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I
Mhm.
said, I wish him the best. You know, hopefully it all works out. But it started, you know, like man, a second location would have been cool. That way, if it fell on his face, that's okay because we're still good. You know.
Yeah. And see
Um,
what I think Corey should have done. So Corey opened a warehouse here in Kentucky, in Louisville, I think. It's either Louisville or Lexington,
yeah,
but it's just a warehouse. Now I think he should have opened up a store in
in the
Louisville,
warehouse.
and
Yeah,
then I mean he would have done amazing, you know,
but that's
because it's
not
a
good for
big
you.
city,
Uh-huh.
huh?
Mhm. Boom.
You know?
How far is Louisville from you?
Oh, it's 6 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah, then, yeah. Open up
Yeah.
over there. I thought they were closer. I'm like, no.
Oh no, no, no. If Corey was to open the store in Paducah, I'd be done. Like my
Yeah,
store would be done.
yeah. He
But
wouldn't even sell to you no more. I bet. They were like, yeah, we can't sell to you no more.
yeah.
But no, that's I like I said, I wish him the best. I just was thinking about it. I was like, ooh, tough. It's rough out there right now. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I no longer, you know, I don't work at any fish stores right now. I'm doing my own thing in my own way. Um, but I talked to the people who I was working with, you know, like Consolidated and Daryl's and stuff like that, and they're still up and running, but they're not happy.
Mhm.
You know, they're not smiling like they used to be. They're you know a little bit more. But that's everybody I talk to. You know, everybody's a little bit more serious, a little bit more clinched up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you guys seem like you're doing good.
We're doing okay. We're getting by. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm that guy who wants to expand into a bigger store, But Naomi keeps slapping my hand, said, no, we are not expanding. And after I get out of that mentality, I actually see why she's saying no. You
Yeah.
know, so she is definitely very smart when it comes with all that.
Now, what is it? What is it about expanding that you're thinking of? Now, I get, Naomi's she's the rock. I get that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, but what is it would be your like you obviously are looking forward. What do you see that expanding would do? Like, what do you see about your store that you would like more of? You would like more.
So I would like to get like more of a variety.
Yeah.
Because of my store, it's very small, so I'm
Yeah.
very limited on space.
Hmm.
Um, and not like my variety at the store, I have a pretty good variety, you know, but I mix my fish. So,
Yeah.
I'll put,
Yeah.
say black skirt tetras and white skirt tetras together,
Yeah.
They can coincide together, so I'll put them in one tank.
Yeah.
Um, so I would like to expand, get a bigger store where I can have like a guppy section. I'll have like 5 or 6 different types of guppies, and just
Uh-huh.
not one or two types of guppies in a mud tank.
Hmm.
Um, and then I like to individually put one type of fish in each tank. And then even hard goods, like I get people all the time coming in wanting fish tanks, and they want to buy fish tanks.
That's
I
hard
don't.
though.
Yeah, fish tanks is hard.
Yeah.
And I used so when they first started requesting fish tanks, I started getting the open aquarium tanks, right? They were easy to put on the top shelf or the bottom shelf, that's it. But people are coming in and asking if I can order them a full setup. And I can't do that because if I
Pay
go to
first.
put, huh?
Pay first. Pay
Right?
first.
Well, even with that, so the wholesaler where I can get my fish tanks and stuff like that, they have a minimum balance of like
Oh yeah.
$4,000.
Oh,
So I can't just order one tank and have it delivered to. I'm gonna have
yeah.
to order $4,000 worth of merchandise, and my store
Yeah.
is not big enough for that.
Yeah.
Um, I got to poop. Funk, tell me a story.
You a sicko. I hope your butthole fall out. That's what I hope happened.
But yeah, like it's a variety. So I like to have like, a section of cobalt, and just not on a single shelf. I like to have a section and have all kinds of stuff from cobalt. I like to have a section for aquarium co-op, and have all their products. Uh, that's why I like to expand to get more variety in the store.
So aquarium maintenance by Andy asks, have you ever tried glass cages? And I know what he's getting at. So there's a lot of independent aquarium manufacturers that don't use wholesalers. They're direct, you
Hmm.
know. But even them, sometimes their price is really high for the customer, because they don't want to really sell wholesale prices so much because they are making good money retail.
Yep.
To be honest, I mean, well, Andy, you do a maintenance business, like when I was working at LFS's, we would call up some of these places and we would have to basically pay like this much less than retail, and it wasn't really didn't make any sense. I don't know if glass cages was the same, but it just didn't make any sense price wise. It would be
Hmm.
so expensive for the customer. They just, well, we'll go direct to get um glass cages ourselves. So
Yep.
you know, I don't know. That it's a toughie. It's a toughie with tanks, man. Especially if you try to. if people are like, "Yo, we'll do it. We'll pay for it if you get it," and then you get it, and then you never see these people again.
Right.
You
Yeah.
never see them again. Now, I seen a couple of videos with your store, and it seems like all your tanks are on the left side, and you have a
Mhm.
couple of big tanks on the right side with what the flower horn, right?
The flower horn. Yep.
Now, the flower horn's a display tank.
Yeah. He is our mascot.
He's your
He,
mascot.
he's our
Um,
mascot.
I also think Waterbox does a thing that helps shops. Waterbox?
I never heard of water
You never
box.
heard of Waterbox? Oh yeah, they're a good one. They're the higher end. They're the higher end thing. So your customers. So when I was working, people who wanted like Red Sea and Waterbox, they knew what they was paying for.
Mhm.
They knew how much. They knew that it was a high price tag, but they knew what they was paying for. They knew the quality of the glass. They knew the quality of um a tank. I was surprised when people did buy them because they was willing to pay $1,000 for like a 25-gallon tank. It was weird. I was like, really? You're gonna buy that? And
Mhm.
they would like it was a lot of money. Some of these tanks, a lot of money. A lot of them was saltwater people, but still, yeah, they paid it. They paid it. You know, yeah, you could look into that. Um, what it did was it kept you from trying to compete with the big box stores for their
Right.
cheapy tanks. It was the
Mhm.
high end tanks that people don't like to get in the mail because they're afraid of them breaking. But yeah, Andy's right. You know, they're out there. They're out there. It's just you have to pay up front. You have to buy them up front, but they might piecemeal them out to you. It's just the
Right.
initial investment, and then please somebody buy this.
Right. That'd be the issue that I run into because
Yeah,
my area it's a small town,
yeah,
so you know people are not going to buy $1,000 25-gallon tank.
I tell you what I will do. After we get off here, I'll call you up because these things they don't have a backstage, but I'll call you up, and I do have the name of if you're into if your area is really big into nano tanks, I do have a name of a company that does nano tanks that is pretty not expensive. That does
Hmm.
nano tanks, and you can get a decent amount of them. You know what I mean? Small. Yeah.
There's a company that's been reaching out to me about once or twice a month, and they
You know
sell
what they're
nano
called?
tanks.
You know what they're called?
Not offhand,
Yeah.
uh, but and I've thought about it, you
Yeah.
know, but and they're like open tanks, like there's no
Yeah. Yeah.
rims. They're
Yeah.
uh, but I've thought about it. I'm just kind of scared if I put that money into that and don't sell it.
Well, I was surprised that people bought these tanks, but they did. Because for me, I felt like they were expensive for what they was.
Hmm.
But they were really, really neat. They were the all inclusive, some of them were, I mean, they range in size from like 8 gallons to 20 gallons, all
Hmm.
inclusive, open, rimless, you know, um, they were neat looking little tanks. If you were into aquascaping, these were the tanks you wanted to get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm really into the all inclusive with the filters in the back.
Hmm.
Um, I would get it if I had that type of money. It's there. It wasn't. I keep saying that type of money. I'm super cheap because I know, like, I can get a tank. I got tanks in storage, so I'm not gonna say. You know what I mean? But people who are like hardcore into aquascaping would be like, yeah, I'd definitely get that for whatever. Um, but there, you could have a bunch of them where they won't take up a lot of space. Is what I'm getting at.
Right.
I remember thinking to myself, people were buying them, so the investment was worth it.
Hmm.
And if you have a big nano fish area, they might be. They might be. I don't know. That's up for you and Naomi. That's up for you and Naomi to make that decision. Hey, what's up, Renee? How you doing? But I know who was it? It was you that was into cichlids, right? Or was it Naomi?
Uh,
One of you was into cichlids, and it just didn't happen. Was it you or her? One of you.
what? Uh, when we first started, we had a cichlid tank. Um, we had our two. We had our King Kong parrot, and we had our blood parrot. It was a
Uh-huh.
male and female. That we drove down to Arkansas and got a pair. We absolutely fell in love with those fish. And then we ended up getting a bunch of African cichlids in a 125. I don't know. I guess it would be me.
Yeah, because I
Um,
remember I watched a live stream where one of you wanted to carry cichlids in the shop, and it just didn't happen. It was you?
yeah, I think I wanted. Yeah, I wanted to carry cichlids, but I got talked out of it because there's not a big market for cichlids in my area.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a few customers who want cichlids, um, but it's going to cost me more just sitting on those cichlids at the
Yeah.
shop, you
Yeah.
know. So, but I'll special order. So if I get someone say, "Oh, I want uh, a strawberry OB peacock," and if I can
Yeah.
order it, that's great. I'll order it. I'll
Yeah.
bring it into the shop, call the customer, "Hey, your cichlid's here, come get it,"
Yeah.
and that's fine. I have no problems doing that, but actually like ordering cichlids, we tried having a cichlid tank and we made
Yeah.
nothing off of it, you know.
I remember what I was getting at before I lost track. The flower horn you was talking about, you wanted to get more tanks. Has the discussion of taking the flower horn home ever came up? Because that's what, a 125 you had that sucker in?
75.
A 75? I
Yeah,
mean,
he's in a 75.
has that ever came up? Be like, well, we got this wall right here where this tank is kind of taking up real estate.
Right?
Has that ever came up?
No, it
It's not
hasn't.
an option.
No, he's been a really good mascot for us. Like
Uh-huh.
really, really big. I mean, I get a lot of people come in my TikTok lives, and they're always asking about Megamind.
Okay.
Um, they always say, "Oh, let me see Megamind," let me see you feed Megamind, stuff like that.
Okay.
I get a lot of customers come in just to come talk to Megamind. Like they'll come in, they'll start talking to them, and they'll take pictures of them, they'll take videos of them. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta show my sister, or I gotta show whoever. So it's actually Megamind has actually brought people in. You
All
know,
right. So he serves a purpose.
it serves a purpose at
All
the
right.
store. And
Yeah.
when they come in and then they start looking around the shop, and be like, oh, let me grab this. Or so,
Yeah.
yeah, he's serving a really good purpose at the shop right now.
Because we used to have I worked at this one LFS where the owner used to have like in my personal opinion a little too many display tanks where they wanted not for sale. They had not for sale on that. And I'm like, you got a lot of fish here that like the most expensive fish we have you have not for sale on that, and people kind of get pissed off when they go into they really would get pissed off. They come into the LFS and they're like, yo, how much for that fish? And the owner's like, it's not for sale. And they're like, but we have one over there, but that one sucks. This one I want, and they were like, well, I want that. And they literally leave not buying a damn thing.
Not buying
And we're like,
anything.
well, this one will eventually get like, I don't want that one. I want that one. And it's like, well, you got a pet store here, and you're saying you're not selling this. And I can understand their frustration, you know what I mean? In a way,
Right.
I could understand. So yeah, I'm kind of funny about display tanks, but your display tank actually serves a purpose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
and it's only
yeah,
one.
it's only one.
We had like
Only,
5 of them. There was
yeah.
like 5 of them, and they were all big. They were all big. They honest to God, they started getting close to. There was definitely more money in this. Well, not more money. There was a lot of money in those display tanks
Mm-hmm.
because they were all full grown. They were all rare, you know. And in the fish department, it was like platies. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? It was like what the. So I don't know.
Now,
I don't know.
I do have people come in and they've asked me how much I would sell Megamind for, you
Not for
know,
sale.
and I I'll kind of gently let it down to them, you know. I was like, I don't know if I want to sell them or not. I don't. When really I don't want to sell them, but I don't want to piss off the customer, you know. Be like, oh,
Yeah.
he's not for sale, you know. So uh, I'll make the price high. Like I'll say he's $800, you know, and
Yeah.
he's an $800 fish, which is not a lie because the type he's a super red dragon flower horn,
Yeah.
and they're at his size they range anywhere between 400 or no 500 to like $1,200.
Mhm.
So you know I'll give a price of $800, and 99.9% of people are like, oh, I'm not gonna pay $800 for a fish, you know. But I'll get those couple of customers be like, all right, you know, I'm gonna set up a tank and all that, you know, and I'm gonna come back, but I'll never see him again, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. You always get that. You ever try
uh,
and say, "Hey, I could order you this fish"?
right,
You ever tell them that
but
you can order them a small one for 200?
mhm,
I can get you a baby for 200. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they
but
never took you up on that offer.
uh, I've told them, you know, I can order the flower horns, but they're gonna be a lot smaller and they're gonna be a
Yeah.
lot cheaper. And I'll
Yeah.
explain to them, you know, they will. This is how big they get, you know, in this amount of time, um, and then they'll kind of think about it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not directly telling them saying no, he's not for sale. No, you can't have him, and they get pissed off and they leave the store. But
Mhm.
so it's
It's a
a hit or
shame.
miss.
I think it's a shame that cichlids don't do as well as they do. I think I at pet stores I try and I personally try and push cichlids. Well, I don't push anything, but I definitely praise cichlids for beginners because cichlids can take a lot more abuse than tetras. That
Mhm.
I know a lot of beginners like to go to tetras because they watch YouTube and YouTubers say tetra's a great beginner's fish, and I'm like, no, the hell, it's not. They're not. They don't. No, they're not. You want to get a good beginner fish? Get a convict. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? If you want to
Yep.
really make mistakes, get a convict. You know, like if you know, but I don't think tetras are a good beginner fish at all, at all. When I was in the retail side, we always the aquarium. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much everywhere. Tanks, you know, in fact, a lot of places actually lost money on the actual tank. They actually lost money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of sucked. But I would tell people all the time, you know, cichlids, you know, you can make mistakes and I have to barbs are a good one. You know, I think barbs are a good small fish to start out with. But I try and get people to get cichlids, you know,
Mhm.
because it's just it's hard because I know what beginner people do. I know they're gonna make mistakes and I know they're gonna get mad at me because they're gonna make the mistakes and they're gonna blame me for it. So
Mhm.
I try and minimize the blame by trying to get them a fish that has got less likelihood of dying.
Right.
You know, what do you consider the best beginner fish?
Um.
Realistically, realistically, you know.
Realistically, as a beginner, I say like your Danios,
Mm, yep, yep, yep.
guppies, platies. I would. a lot of people think mollies are, but mollies are really not. Um, mollies are so mollies are considered as a peaceful community fish. They're not. You can get some aggressive mollies, and they can go after your guppies and any other fish.
Sailfin mollies, in my opinion,
Sailfin.
I know sailfins.
Yep.
Male sailfins
Yeah.
are molesters. They're just molesters with their little
Mhm.
all over the place. Like they're the Pepe Le
So
Pews of the fish community.
yeah, and I say betas. I mean, really, betas is not hard either. You just if you're going to do a beta, you got to know your water chemistry quite a bit, just like any fish, really. But betas are uh, more sensible to spikes, I guess you can
Yeah,
say.
yeah, they're
So,
forgiving of ammonia because they could breathe air.
mhm.
They don't suffocate. That's one of the reasons why they could live in a bowl. But yeah, I don't know. I worked at an LFS that I remember they would give the worst advice, and I found myself in a terrible terrible position where I wanted to tell all the employees stop telling anybody anything. Just tell them to come straight to me because you guys you guys you probably don't have to deal with it because it's just you and Naomi, right?
Mhm.
But like I worked at LFSs, there was always more people. And if they gave bad advice, the customer would come in when I worked and that other dude didn't work. And they were like, well, you guys said this. I'm like, I didn't say that. But, I can't really talk bad about my employee because if I talk bad about him, then I'm pretty much taking blame for the store. And I can't really do that either, outright. I mean, I can say sorry, but I can't really be like, yeah, we suck. I can't say that. But I want to. I want to be like, yo, we should not have told you that at all because that was the
Right.
wrong information. That's what I want to say, but I can't. Um, but I get frustrated. You probably, like I said, you and Naomi probably say the same exact things. I would imagine
Mhm. Pretty much.
for the
Yeah.
most part. But yeah, I hate some of the fish that LFS suggest to people.
Mhm.
For beginners fish. It's really bad. Angels, gouramis, paradise fish, all good beginners.
See,
Angels,
I would have to
angels,
disagree about that.
they're I'm okay, so I'm on the fence about angels for
Mhm.
I'm gonna say yes and no. I'm gonna say yes and
Yeah.
no. I did a video recently where I think angels, because they're a cichlid, I say yes. But people assume, and I'm not saying you, Andrew, the beginner Aquarius gets an angel thinking that they are like Tetras. That's the biggest mistake people make with angels, beginners. They're thinking, oh, I got an angel. I can go to the peaceful section and get anything. No, you
Mhm.
can't. You know what I
Nope.
mean? In fact, the video was basically like, if you have a peaceful aquarium, you pretty much could put any other peaceful fish in there, pretty much. But once you put an angel in there, that tank is now an angelfish tank.
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah. And then there's a difference. You put one angel or you're gonna put three angels, because then you got breeding. So eh, angels, yeah, angels are sleeper fish. Angels are sleeper fish. Paradise gouramis, that's damn near a cichlid, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
I've had some
Yep.
paradise gouramis go ham on other fish.
There are some
Yeah.
aggressive fish.
What's up, Steve? How you doing? But yeah, I do. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was talking to Mexicali today, and I've never been a real gourami people. I like two types of gouramis up until today. I've liked the paradise gourami and the pearl scale gourami. I've recently bought two gouramis just to put some color in a display tank. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I've never had these gouramis for myself. I've had them at pet stores. Every pet store I've ever had, a blue gourami and a gold gourami. And I gotta be honest with you, their colors are popping. Their colors are popping. I might be a gourami keeper. I don't know. I'll never have a big old ugly giant gourami. I guarantee you that. What's up, Cecile?
Gouramis remind me of betas.
Well, they're in the same family.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, they're in the
they
same family.
create that bubble nest and all that. So,
Yeah, they're in the same family. But I've never been a gourami keeper. But they're starting to wear on me. You know.
hmm
What about meds? How do you feel about medications? What do you tell people when they're sick? The reason why I'm saying that is I have a fish right now,
okay.
and I was thinking about doing a video. A Cecil. I said Cecile. Cecil, what's up, man? I apologize for calling you Cecile. My eyes, como dice Celia, my English is not very good looking. Um, I have a fish right now, and it's gonna die. It's gonna die. It's a Florida flagfish. I don't know how old it was when I got it. But is that Ross? What's up, Ross? But it's not doing well. There's no signs of anything except for the fact it's eating. It's kind of swimming around sluggishly. I think it's gonna die. Just
So
die. But
if it's eating and it's barely swimming, the first thing I think of is your aeration.
no,
It's
I
not
got
an
a
aeration.
whole lot of aeration.
Yeah, a
I
whole
got a
lot of
bunch of fish in there. Bunch of fish in there. Everybody's doing great. Water parameters are on point. It's just it looks old.
Okay.
This kind of just looks old.
hmm
Like I said, I don't know how old it was when I got it. It just looks old. He's swimming around just fine.
Is it
He's
old?
kind of, but not as he don't have a lot of pep in his step. You know what I'm saying? He's eating, but he's not like aggressively eating. He's not doing anything to warrant being sick, except for the fact that he's not as lively as he used to
It's
be.
what you should be. So
Yeah,
that's
you
an
know what
old.
I'm saying?
Yeah, he may be just an
Yeah,
old grumpy fish.
yeah. So, in my opinion, he's gonna die soon. I don't know when. I just think his time is ticking. And I was gonna do a video where most fish keepers would be like, "Oh, you got to put him in quarantine, and you got to do this, and you got to get general. You know what general cure is? General cure is kind of expensive, and you got to put him in quarantine. So now I'm going to take this fish out of a perfectly well filtered tank, a planted tank, and it's got social. It's got other fish around him, and I'm going to put him in this sterile tank with no gravel, a freaking pot, nothing around it, and I'm going to put meds in it, not knowing what the hell's wrong with it, and spend all this money for a $4 fish. Am I wrong? Am I a terrible fish keeper?
Are you? No, I don't make you a terrible fish keeper.
But I was thinking about doing a video exactly on that. Is it? Yeah, yeah. I think it's just old.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about doing a video about like, hey, sometimes it's not worth the money, and this fish is just gonna die. There's
Right.
nothing pointing to a specific illness. There's no white poop. There's no visible body sore. There's nothing for me to go, oh, that's the med I need. So
hmm
why put it through all that stress just
Right.
shooting in the dark? So yeah, I was thinking about a video just hospice for fish. So
Mm.
how do you feel about meds when people come in telling you? Because I feel like the average beginner fish keeper is super terrible. And they come in with videos and it's like a half a second video. Look, this is my fish. And this is what's wrong with it. And it's like, oh, I can't see nothing. Like,
I get that a lot. I get that a lot. I get a lot of people send me like 2-second videos of their fish and ask me, they have it, for example, so ick and epistylitis are the two biggest commonly mistaken illnesses.
what is the second thing you said?
Epistylitis.
What is the common name for that? Because I don't know what that is.
All right,
Epistylitis.
so you have ick and you have it's epistylitis. It's a lot like ick, but the difference between the two, they're both parasites. Okay,
Uh-huh.
um, the difference between the two is so ick grows on the fins and the bodies, right? And so does epi. Epi also grows on fins and body, but epi also grows on the eyeballs of the fish. It does not.
Word, is that the truth? I've always called it ick. I've
No.
seen the white spots. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just
So
assumed all of it, white spots, all was ick.
no,
Did y'all
it's
know
not
that in
always
the
it.
chat? Am I the only one that didn't know that? In the chat, tell me if you just learned something, because I just learned something. Do you treat them the same way?
No, you don't treat them the same.
Oh, tell me.
So and also another way you can tell the difference is epi are raised, like little raised bumps, and ick is not raised. Ick is like flat, pretty much.
I can't
Um,
tell. It's too little.
which is kind of hard. Yeah, Cecil already knew it.
All right, see for Mr. Know It All.
But so a lot of people, yeah, Funk, you're the only one.
Brian, you didn't know. Stop lying.
So
You didn't
epi,
know. You got doo-doo in your
uh,
beard.
a lot of people don't know about epi. They always think of ick. You know, that's all. That's what they've all been told.
Brian didn't
Besides,
know.
besides the YouTube community here, but
Brent, they didn't know. Brent didn't know.
so
So maybe,
so
but Brent didn't know.
I get a customer and they was like, "Oh, my fish has ick. What do I treat it with?" and all
Uh-huh.
that. And I always request like a video or pictures, of the fish and stuff like that. Because with epistylitis, you can treat it with ICX, you can treat it with aquarium salt, just like ick.
Okay.
Same with it. But
Okay.
with ick, if you up your temperature with ick, the warm water will slow the ick down from growing, reproducing, and the salt dries the parasite up, and the ick falls off the fish. Right.
Mm-hmm.
With epi, if you up that temperature, your epistylitis gets worse. It actually grows and gets worse, and it's a big mess. So you got
Say
to
that
be
again. Say that
careful.
again. Say that again. Say that
All
again.
right. So with ick, you up the temperature to kind of slow the progress of it.
Uh-huh.
But with the epistylitis, you do not want to up the temperature because it actually feeds it and makes it grow and gets bigger.
So how do you get rid of it?
So you keep your temperature about 74, 76 degrees, a little cooler temperature, but you
Uh-huh.
treat it with ICX or treat it with aquarium salts.
So it's a temperature. Epicylitis, you treat cold water, and ick you treat with hot water. But you still use salt
Roughly.
and water
Yep.
changes.
Yep, you're the only one. If you treat them the same, you'll kill your fish with epi, lower your temp. Yep.
Andrew, hey, Andrew, you just shut your filthy, whorish mouth.
Yeah. So Branton actually, that's where I actually learned from is Branton.
Brandon be making stuff. Well, see, I don't think you know any because Brandon makes stuff up. So
Yeah.
don't even listen. I don't see now. I'm not even believing anything you just said.
So yeah, I made a mistake. I had a customer who was battling with epistylitis,
Uh-huh.
and uh, she was telling me it was ick. So I gave her the treatment for the ick. I gave her the aquarium salt. Told her to up her temperature. And while she was treating for it, she kept messaging me and saying, it's getting worse. You know, it's
Uh,
getting worse. It's growing more and all this other stuff. And I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. You know, it shouldn't be getting worse. It should be getting better. So I actually reached out to Branton, and
don't do
come
that.
to find come to
Man
find
makes
out
stuff
it was
up.
Epi.
It was, and
So
you know, that's the EpiPen. Listen,
that,
listen. I thought I was learning something. I just realized everything you just said came from Bratton, so it's all BS. I'm just now I have to unlearn everything you just said. I've been doing fish for going on 20. Honestly, I have never heard of but
epistolate,
in my defense, I rarely get sick fish.
right?
I rarely get sick fish. And it's because I'm cheap as hell. Funk, you reached out to me today. I reached out
You
to you
reached out to
today.
Funk? Did
Huh?
you reach out to Branton?
No, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
No.
Brian, stop fantasizing, you sick bastard. You sicko. I don't even want to know what was going on during your imaginary whatever you was having with me. Was you
I
in the
would have
toilet
asked
when you were thinking when you was imagining me reaching out? What was I reaching out? Ew. Ew. So I'm very cheap. Like I don't have a lot of money. No, I didn't call you fool. You stop lying to these people, making up stuff. So when I pick out fish, I'm like real picky, like because I don't have a lot of money, right? So I don't deal a lot with illnesses. I'm not good with meds. Like I've always said that. Don't come to me for meds because I don't know. I haven't dealt with a lot of sick fish in my life. That's probably one of um my weakest thing is illnesses because I just don't. He called me to yeah. All of a sudden, I'm just calling
you.
everybody and
Y'all remember that?
hey, how y'all doing today? Just Epi is a parasite that lives on the surface of the fish. Yeah. All right, y'all just making stuff up. I ain't gonna believe nobody in the chat no more. I just refuse. But like I said, that's one of my weakest things is illnesses. Because I just don't deal with sick
Mhm.
fish a lot.
That's
But
yeah, bacterial infection.
I've
Yep,
never heard
that,
of
that's
Epi till today. I'm questioning your source, is what I'm doing. I'm
your question, my
questioning.
sword.
I'm questioning your source. I'm not questioning you. I believe you are honestly telling me what you honestly believe. I'm questioning your source,
Oh,
and now I'm questioning Andrew and all the people lying in the chat. Chatty cat. So, all right. So we learned that don't you'll talk to anybody on the phone. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
You be nice to people. You learn how to deal with people to try to sell you stuff. You wanna grow, but Naomi is stifling your dreams. Does she know that you feel this way about her? About how you feel? That she's stifling your dreams about
she
wanting to
said
be to
she
grow.
knows. She knows.
You ever say that? Woman, I need a dream. I need to fly. That you need a peacocking. She's stifling she's dashing your hopes.
Yep. Andrew, you're correct. Treat with canoplets in the food. We did that and it cured it.
What's Canaflex? I've never
Canoplets?
heard of Canaflex for real. I'm 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 big on salt, raising the temperature, and water changes.
hmm
You know, I do have like Dan Connor. He's Dan from Consolidated Fish Farm.
Yeah.
I usually go if I have a sick fish. Dan, look at this fish, and he gives me stuff, and then I do that. But I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I
hmm
just do what he says because he's like knows all that crap. I go okay, and I do that, and that's it. I'm good. You know what I mean? And it works. So I don't have to know. You know what I mean? If I know people who know how to do it, I don't have to know.
Right.
It saves,
So,
saves my brain power.
so I got proof you called Brant for 12 minutes now.
How?
He just messaged me a screenshot of his call log.
You hacked my phone? Man, I could do that. I could make up some stuff. That's just fake news, man. That's AI.
Fake news.
That's AI. You can't believe anything. That's AI. I saw a video of Donald Trump and Putin in Gaza dressed in gold, singing. It's a hard knock life. So you can't believe anything, especially Brandon. He got doo-doo in his beard. What Brad say? C-cam fed with focus on the food. All right, so I did not know that about that stuff though. Seriously, I've been doing. Yeah, keep laughing. AI gonna get us all. It is. It is. Y'all keep messing around with that AI. See what's gonna happen to you. I did not know that. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. That stuff. I have seen ick on eyeballs before. I gotta admit, I haven't seen it that often. I've seen it in pet stores before, not that often. Is it rare?
Ick on eyeballs?
The stuff that the
The
EpiPen.
epistolitis?
Yeah, the EpiPen. That's what I said.
Oh, the epi. Is it
Is it
common?
rare? Because I haven't, I remember seeing ick on eyeballs, but now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen it that often. Is it
Yeah.
rare?
It's not as common as ick. So I
Yeah.
guess you could say it's kind of rare. Uh,
Mm.
Once you get epi once, you'll never forget it.
Well, then maybe I never got it then. I definitely have seen it.
Epistalis, yeah.
I definitely have seen it though. Because like I said,
Yeah.
I've worked in I've been doing it for over 25 years, but I definitely have seen it. But that's the first time I've ever heard of that particular name. That's the
Yeah,
first time
epi.
that's ever, I have to be honest, I haven't doing aquarium maintenance, got 13 years, and I haven't never seen anything that looks like it on the see what I'm saying? I ain't the only one. So all y'all can just kiss my naturally brown butt. All right? All y'all. I ain't the only one. Andy. We right here, Andy. We right here.
It's really hard and expensive to treat. Yep, sure is.
Yeah, so hey, it's me and you, Andy. We in this together. Everybody kiss. I don't know what color your butt is, but they can kiss your naturally whatever color butt it is too. My naturally brown butt and whatever color your butt is too. Kiss it. Kiss it. Anyway, look, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. We've been on for an hour and a half. Real fast, can one of the moderators hey, stopping by to say hi? You missed everything, June.
Where you
You
been,
missed
June?
everything. Mocha.
Mm-mm-mm.
Kiss Andy's mocha butt. You kiss my caramel butt, not you, June. Everybody else lying about what they seen. You know what I'm saying? By the way, somebody wrote something that Brad, kiss my what? What the heck? I don't even know what is that? What is that? I don't know what you just said, Bratton. That don't make no sense to me. Poopy.
Just
You got a poopy butt?
I think.
Brian, you need to learn how to wipe, man. You need to invest in a bidet. If you can't wipe your booty good, you need to. It's where they shoot water. See, I told you, all my lives always end up talking about doo doo all the time, and it's because of Branton. Always because of
Brandon's Law.
Branton. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? But I appreciate all y'all for stopping by. Before I leave, I want you guys to go to JNN's TikTok page. I'm going to be visiting his TikTok page because I'm really curious about this whole group of young whippersnappers checking out, trying to get information on aquariums through TikTok. That's scary to me. It's very disturbing. It's just off the rails now. It is. That's what happens, Andy. It always happens. It always flies off the rails. So if one of the moderators could please go, my life is all about poop. Okay, the moderators, please. I need. I think I have the his YouTube channel in my description. I'm not sure. But I need his TikTok and his YouTube channel posted. I'm not getting off. Congratulations on leveling up. What are you talking about leveling up? What did I level up to?
Hubby Pooposaur.
I don't know. I don't even understand that, June. Are you talking about your man's doo-doo? Man, you know when I was a kid, my grandmother, he was basically my grandfather. It was my grandmother's boyfriend. My grandmother was pimp. She had a boyfriend. And his name was Jaime. And Jaime would wake up every morning and drink coffee straight. And his guts was all messed up. He would go to the bathroom every morning with a cigar and tear that bathroom up and smoke a cigar while he was doing it. And the whole bathroom smelled like hot coffee, cigars, and doo-doo. Every morning. I mean, rocked that bathroom, bro. Just shook it. The bathroom was just like, brr, brr. Door. You ever see like the door? You can see the door bowing and stuff. Like, I'm
Paint
ripped it.
peeling off the walls.
It was terrible. It was sweating. There was sweat on the wall, like hot. You know what I mean? It was terrible. Listen, I need some I need some links. I need TikToks. You moderators, come on, moderators. Y'all can do TikToks. I want to know because I need to come back and watch this and get his TikTok. Well, you know what? I'll get his TikTok on my own. Y'all missing out. Mexicali, you could do the TikTok, can't you? Man, that dude was a veteran. He wasn't a veteran. No, he was not a veteran. He was a monster. He was nasty. He literally sat down on the toilet, drank coffee, smoked a big old nasty cigar, and read the newspaper every morning. He was in there for like a half an hour, 45 minutes. Drinking coffee, smoking a big old nasty sticky cigar. Thank you, Mexicali. And reading the newspaper while he was dropping just lava. It was gross. His name was Hyman. He was little. He had to weigh like 120 pounds. He was a little dude. And my grandmother was a big, hefty woman too. So it was strange. You don't have ticks anymore? No, I ain't giving Brighton nothing because he's dirty. He's nasty and dirty. And he causes drama in the chat. So anyway, listen, Jeremy, I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Appreciate you reaching out.
And whenever I go to Paducah, right?
Yep.
I want to go. I'm gonna get a shirt, and I'm gonna go to Monkey's Eyebrow and what's the other spot?
Possum
Trot. Possum Trot. Monkey's Eyebrow and Possum Trot. And I'm gonna check out those spots and drink beer and get it signed. I'm gonna get it signed by a hobo in every place. I'm gonna take a picture. Do they have hobos in those towns?
What's that?
Hobos. Do they have hobos in those towns?
Hobos? Every town has a hobo.
I'm gonna find me a hobo in Possum Trot and take a picture and get him to sign my shirt. Oh, his J and Aquatics. J and Aquatics. Can somebody put J and Aquatics, please?
J and Aquatics.
Yep.
Thank you, June.
Huh?
June said, "How's the favorite Jeremy?" I'm glad June is on Team Jeremy. So if you watched our other interviews, we've had debates whether Naomi was the favorite or if I was the favorite. So June is Team Jeremy.
So why are people fighting? Why are people trying to get y'all to have a divorce?
They're not.
Why are people trying to cause a rift between this happy couple?
Exactly.
That is terrible. You guys are just terrible. You bunch of homewreckers is what you are. That's a bunch of homewreckers. Trying to cause drama between them. They just had a baby, for Christ's sakes. Any links for Jeremy? I don't know. I'm waiting. Why don't you get one, Andrew? Jay and Aquatics. I'm bad. Yeah, you are bad. Thank you, Mexicali. I'm about to take everybody's wrench away from Mexicali's.
But you gonna have to start paying Mexicali.
Huh?
You gotta start paying
I
George
ain't paying
there.
Mexicali nothing. I ain't paying him nothing.
You're
He don't
not
get
paying.
nothing. Haters. All right, so look, I'm out. I appreciate every one of y'all. I appreciate you, Jeremy. I hope everything goes good with the baby. You know what I mean? If he and what was it that that was going on with him?
So last Christmas, he had RSV, he had bronchiolitis, and he ended up having a collapsed lung.
Oh.
So he was in the Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt in Nashville for like 2 weeks, and he got better. He still had breathing issues a little bit, but he got a lot better. But he was now diagnosed again with RSV. So this is round 2 with RSV with him. So
Okay. So a lot of you guys are parents out there, so I know you know that's something that probably hits you kind of hard. I know it does me. So if you are a person of faith, go ahead and drop a prayer. What's the child's name?
Ezra,
Ezra. Drop
yeah.
drop a prayer for Ezra. I can't drop a prayer because it won't do no good. It'll probably have the opposite effect. So I'm stay out of that. You know what I mean? You know, but if you guys want to go ahead and drop a prayer for him, if that's your thing, Ezra's his name. I appreciate you, Jeremy. I appreciate everybody in chat. I will catch y'all on another time. Hey, I'm going live every Sunday, baby. Every Sunday at 9 o'clock. Sunday blasphemy. I don't know who's coming up next, but I'm gonna have somebody next Sunday. I know it's definitely not gonna be Brian though. Definitely not gonna be him. Later, y'all.
Thank you.